Greetings. It is Monday, August the 28th, 2023, and this is Thomas Caldwell with the Aurelian Column Monday Morning Report. Now, just to answer those who are wondering why there have been few postings on the Aurelian Column over the past week or so, suffice it to say I had some things to attend to, and it is the end of summer, so there were a few people I needed to spend some time with before the Labor Day weekend arrives. But now I'm back, and boy, things are getting interesting, aren't they? So let's delve into things. This week's story and what to follow. First, of course, is the Trump booking and celebrity mugshot. It's all the rage on the internet, and the meme makers are working overtime, both the pro-Trump meme makers and the anti-Trump meme makers. Bizarre how American elections have come to this, haven't they? Dignity died in so many places in this country, and the election process is certainly one of them. Now, nothing surprising here, given the current amount of corruption at the highest levels of power. Former President Trump and some other people, including Rudy Giuliani, and being arrested, prosecuted, and by the powers that be. Although I believe it is too soon to make an accurate prediction as to who the next occupant of the White House will be, what is certain is that the deep state will do anything and everything in its power, both legal and illegal, I would imagine, to prevent Trump from being elected president again. We'll see where things will go. But given what's gone on since he was first elected in 2016, I'm not really optimistic about 2024. The thing that few people in the mainstream media are doing is comparing all the activity following the 2016 election to prevent Trump from taking power to what's going on today. Back then, there were people trying to get the electors to change their votes. There were all sorts of talk about how to prevent him from taking power after the election results were in. No one was prosecuted back then. Nobody was charged or prosecuted with the same sort of thing Trump, Giuliani, and some others are being prosecuted with. But that's not surprising, is it? Anyway, stay tuned to that story, as it's going to get more bizarre and, I predict, disheartening. The next is the Maui fires, which are still in the news, but barely. The death toll this morning, when I was checking, is now officially at 115, but there are many hundreds unaccounted for. Again, the initial reports were that most of them were children, but no one's saying whether they were adults or children for some reason. As for the causes of the fire, there's been much speculation that military-grade weapons were used, high-energy weapons from space or something to that effect. And there has been some interesting video coverage posted online on various sites and video servers, but I think that's probably misdirection, as getting the U.S. military to participate in such an illegal act against American citizens, such a heinous act, is hard to imagine even in this day and age. A more rational explanation would be to employ the same technique used by CIA saboteurs to destroy sugarcane fields on the island of Cuba following Fidel Castro's revolution. I touched on that last week. Here's how it worked, and apologies to any cat lovers out there. Stray cats were captured. Wires were then tied to their tails with oil or kerosene-soaked burlap, then tied to the end of the wire. The burlap was ignited, and the cat runs like hell for about a mile or more, spreading the fire as it tries desperately to escape the flames. According to an interview with one of the CIA saboteurs that did this, and I was able to track that down and see the man in his own words, he would say that a cat would travel a mile or more before, well, let's just say, giving up and succumbing to its fate. Pretty horrifying, but that's the sort of people that that are out there. Now, such an arson technique would have been ideal to use on Maui, and not just because of the old sugarcane fields that caught light. You see, for many years, Maui has had a terrible problem with feral and stray cats, to the point it was being called an infestation. Cats dying in the flames would not raise any suspicion, would they? And it would also explain how the fire spread through the city of Lahaina so quickly. Just enter the words Maui and stray cats into any search engine and you'll see what I mean. Now, it's not hard evidence. This is just a theory that fits the facts. but one that doesn't seem to be getting much attention out there. So if anyone is on Maui and hearing my voice and you're looking into this disaster, please consider the cat factor, the cat arson fire factor, as you probe through the remains of your paradise lost. The only one that's happy that this is going on is no doubt all the real estate speculators and developers who have been praying to find some way to develop that part of the island and get rid of all the less than affluent people that live there. Not saying there's any connection, but coincidences happen every day, but they should never be trusted. Again, look into the cat factor. Now, there's another story I'd like you to follow, and this is one I'll be elaborating on as it began about a month ago, and I'll be elaborating on it as I learn more about it. And this is the prosecution of participants in the Tiki Torch March that occurred in Charlottesville on the evening of August 11th, 2017. You must have seen the video of all these people marching with tiki torches towards I believe it was a statue of Thomas Jefferson. And that was interesting visuals, shall we say. Now, this story is almost completely being ignored in the mainstream media, and the details about it aren't showing up that easily even with search engines, which I found really strange. You can try for yourself. That might be changing, but that was pretty weird. Anyway, what we're seeing is a January 6th style approach to implementing mass arrests of people who participated in an event that the powers that be didn't like or felt threatened by. Only this is happening 6 years after the event. At that particular incident, there was no damage of property, or there were no injuries reported, at least. In fact, I'm pretty sure there were none. And the whole thing was done with the knowledge of the police, which is pretty interesting. Now, these individuals who participated in the Tiki Torch March are expected to be only the first of many to be prosecuted under a law pertaining to the use of anything burning for the purpose of intimidation in a public setting. Now, that was a law originally intended to curtail Ku Klux Klan activity, but it's being applied here. Now, I'm not going to go into free speech because anyone who listens to me or has read my words know that that is something that I believe very, very strongly in, and free speech is for people you do not agree with as well as for people you do agree with. But this was rather disturbing to see, and it's supposed to get worse. I will keep you abreast, and I will do a more in-depth report, probably a special report for paid subscribers sometime over the next few days. Now, no one was arrested or prosecuted 6 years ago when the event occurred, and the laws were on the books back then. But the powers that be have decided to do this now. I'll dig into this and report back. But do follow this. Do follow the prosecutions going on in Charlottesville. People from around the country, by the way, who are being arrested and extradited to Virginia. We live in disturbing times. One thought I'm going to leave you with that pertains to all of these stories, and most of the ones I cover, is about the times we live in. Now, back in the ancient days, the Greek philosopher Aristotle pointed out that it's better for a city to be governed by a good man than to be governed by good laws. And at no other time in history have such words been more relevant than they have been in the present day. Despite all the legislation, laws, and courts the United States bristles with, it's become most self-evident that those at the head of our affairs are pretty evil. They care nothing for the nation and its system of government they swore to defend. They care nothing about the Constitution. They're just out to control things as best they can. Again, we have a lot of laws, but we do not have good men enforcing those laws, or women for that matter. So be wary of what lies ahead and be ready for it. That's all this week. If you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and share. And if you can, please consider a paid subscription. It'll make it easier to produce more stories and spend more time behind the microphone or composing interesting verse. Thank you very much for listening, and good day.